Yes. That's good enough. Hi guys, just about to throw stuff out for recycling and thought, well, before it goes, let's make a rubber band powered car out of it. So we've got a cardboard tube, not quite sure what that's come from. Kitchen roll, I should think, that looks about the right size, doesn't it? And then a couple of cardboard discs that are cheap pizzas come on. The grain, or what you want to call it, goes across there. I'm thinking of gluing them together so that the grain is at right angles, so we get a stronger wheel. To glue them together, I thought I might try this. It never works well for me. It's also smelly stuff, so I have to go and open a window or something, or a door. Extremely flammable aerosol. Pressurized container, may burst if heated. Cause serious eye irritation. Keep away from heat, hot surfaces, sparks, open flames and other ignition sources. No smoking. Do not spray on open flame or other ignition source. Do not pierce or burn, even when after use. Wash hands thoroughly. Yeah, okay. What do we do? Surfaces to be bonded must be clean, dry and free from grease. Well, we've got a problem there because these pizza ones have got a bit of grease on them, but I'm not going to worry about it. Only using a well ventilated area. Shake can well before use. Always point spray nozzle away from yourself and others. Hold can 6 to 8 inches from surface to be sprayed. Test spray. Yeah, okay. Spray with light uniform coat. Make bond while adhesive is aggressively tacky. 1 to 3 minutes. Then press the two surfaces together firmly. Some very porous surfaces may require 2 coats. Okay, so I guess the idea is you spray it, leave it for 1 to 3 minutes so it goes tacky, push them together. I'll bet put something heavy over it to hold it flat so that we end up with a flat surface, hopefully. This is going to be a bit of a long build simply because I'm using things that are going to take longer than normal. I've also gone on and found these tubes of acrylic paint that I must have bought in Poundland a long time ago. So we've got red and yellow, so I may well be painting this to make it look pretty. Because of the need to do this in a well ventilated area, I'm actually going to go and do it outside. So I'm not going to film it because it's dark outside. Then we'll come back later and see if it's worked. While that cardboard is being glued together outside, we'll mark up the tube for the axle holes. So Okay, that's where our axle is going to go through, so they should be parallel. So I'll use a handy bit of wood. Need a pointy stick of some sort to make the holes. And don't poke a hole in your finger. Those holes aren't going to be big enough for my barbecue skewers. They're going to be too tight, so we'll make those holes bigger still. By whatever pointy implement you happen to have handy. I happen to have a nail on a stick. Right, that should be a good fit, yes. So now we're going to strengthen those holes by pouring super glue on them, because that stiffens up the cardboard. Just remember that you've done it and don't pick it up in the next few minutes and put your hand over the holes, or you'll stick your hands to the cardboard. Right, so we'll leave that to dry now. While we're at it, I'll just cut a little slot in the top here, which is where we're going to put the rubber band. Quite literally, just cut a slot in there. Oh, that's getting a bit blunt. Put a bit of super glue on that as well. Super glue just makes it so much more rigid when it's dried. For the axle holes it makes it a better friction surface, and for something like that it should just make it last a bit longer. Let's see if this acrylic paint's any good. Hasn't even been opened yet. Gonna get my hands dirty, aren't I? How long does acrylic paint take to dry? I have no idea. Doesn't say. Something I very rarely do on my cars is paint them. I just like to build them quickly and get them running. That looks like that's going to need a second coat anyway. Wash that off. Well, I glued them together with that spray adhesive. What I actually did was I sprayed it, and it actually made, I thought it was going to spray out more, but it didn't. It made quite thin tracks. So I then used a piece of cardboard to smear it to give us a complete coverage on both sides. Then I clamped them under some weight to try and get them to go flat. It's still not perfect, but then nothing I do is perfect. What I'm going to do now is mark up 2 big wheels and 2 smaller wheels. I'm thinking of using the size of a CD for the back wheels and then make the front wheels whatever's left. So size of a CD, it's going to be about that. So we need to measure in. And then the same on the opposite side. Just check, yes, that's going to fit in there. And then in what's left, so I'm just eyeballing this rather than measuring it. Let's just check. That's going to go in there, that's going to go in there. So that'll be the front wheel. Right, so that's our wheels. I don't like cardboard wheels because you're never going to get them perfectly circular when you cut them out. You can either try and use a sharp knife or scissors. What I'm doing here is just cutting out smaller areas to make it easier to use the scissors. This is getting really blunt. Try this one. Right, see if we can do this with scissors. Let's do the smaller wheel. Okay, not too bad. Feel free to use a sharp knife if you prefer that way of doing it. This is going to be very lightweight again, so the wheels are going to probably spin. So we'll have the choice of adding weight or trying to put some sort of rubber tyres on these wheels. Still getting the fumes off from the glue. It's obviously not completely dry. So, 2 big back wheels, 2 smaller front wheels. Let's have a look at that tube, see if the paint's dry. It feels more or less dry. That's about half an hour or so. But I really do want to give that another coat. It'd be nice to paint these red as well. So I might do that. Get the red paint out, paint these, and give that another coat of yellow. I just found a spot on there that isn't completely dry, so I'm going to leave that for now. No second coat. See if we can make these red, at least on one side. Right, we'll leave them to dry. Painted wheels. Anything with painting them is I think they've warped a little bit now as the paint's dried. So that probably wasn't the best idea. I've given this 2 coats of paint and it still isn't that convincing. Got a couple of short barbecue skewers or bamboo skewers. I've put points on both ends to make it easier to push the wheels on. What else do we need? A little bit of drinking straw would be handy to put between the wheels and the body, just to stop them rubbing. So this little bit of plastic drinking straw, if I cut that in half, then cut those in half again. So that on there, then a little bit of drinking straw. Which end did I decide was the back and the front? That's the front, that's where I put a little cut in the top. So these will be the back. A little bit of drinking straw. That's our back wheels. I might just glue a little bit of bamboo skewer onto the back axle in a T shape to make it easy to hook the rubber band on. I don't usually bother, but that's going to be a little bit tight in there. Oh, it might be alright. We'll see how we get on. If I can wrap the rubber band around there without putting a T-piece on there, then I'll leave it as it is. They look reasonably straight. Make sure there's a little bit of a gap for them to move about. Front wheels. Okay, they look okay. So that's our car. I might just pop a little bit of super glue on here. Front wheels probably don't need it, the back wheels might need it. Let that dry. Rubber bands. Got these from Poundland. Join together. Might need a little hook to reach inside to get them. Once you've used them a bit, they'll probably stretch, but initially they're just a little bit too short. So on the front, that little slot, that's probably enough to hold it in place, but you could put a little bit of skewer on there, or even a bit of sticky tape. just to hold it in place. I've got a bit of coffee stirrer here, that'll do. Right. I've got a bit of wire with a hook on the end. I can reach in there to get it. Poke it in there first. Now, if I put a hook over there, that would be easy. If I just hold it in place and turn the axle so it goes over it, that holds it in place anyway. So, it should work. You see, that's nice free running there. The big question will be whether we get wheel spin or not, because it's so light. Just give it a few turns, see how we get going. Bit of a left turn on it. Right, we're getting wheel spin, so I've added a bit of weight at the back. Bit of blue tack with a toy. See if that helps. Well, that was better. Didn't get the wheel spin, so I should be able to wind it up a little bit more and we might get the full distance. Yes. That's good enough. Summary time? Well, for what started off as a very simple build, it actually ended up being quite technically difficult. So we'll do the simple bit first. Cardboard tube, cardboard wheels cut from scrap cardboard, bamboo skewers for the axles front and back, rubber band, and now we get into the slightly more technical stuff. It's very lightweight and it's very short, and it's got short wheelbase all round. So we get wheel spin because the wheels don't give enough grip, so we've had to add weight. That's blue tack and a toy just to put some weight over the back wheels. That reduced the wheel spin. At the front end I'd just put a single slot for the rubber band to go through. That didn't work very well, so I cut a second slot so the rubber band's held in place. And then, whilst doing all these test runs up and down here, it's hit the wall so hard with the front wheels that it's actually pushed the holes back, because there's a couple of holes in the cardboard tube for the axle to go through. and it pushed it back so far that the car was suddenly turning right significantly. Now, the fix I did there, which I quite like, is this is a bit of aluminium drinking can, a strip cut from it, that it's just wrapped around there, and it goes up to the back of the axle to keep it level. So the cardboard underneath has actually been pushed right back, so without that metal there, then the axle would be turning significantly that way, or if we're the right way up, it was turning to the right. But by putting that aluminium can there, we've been able to straighten it up again. So I'm quite pleased with that. If you look very carefully, you might be able to see it is buckled, because it's hit the wall a few times since then, and it's actually buckled the aluminium. But I can reach in with a pair of pliers and flatten it again and straighten it up. So that was an interesting little innovation. I haven't done that before, but it works. I just happen to have some aluminium can laying on the table from doing my pop-pop boats. So there we go. A cardboard car. Should be simple, but actually ended up a little bit complicated trying to cure the damaged axle hole.